Hello, I'm File. Today we reopen a set of forgotten records to explore 7 of the most mysterious plane disappearances ever recorded. From cryptic last messages and unexplained detours to aircraft that vanished into thin air without leaving a trace. I'll arrange them in ascending order of their mystery. Join me as we trace the flights that never landed. Case 1. BSAA Flight Stardust, 1947. On August 2nd, 1947, a British South American Airways aircraft known as Stardust departed from Buenos Aires, Argentina, bound for Santiago, Chile. It was a routine flight, carrying 6 crew members and 5 passengers, including diplomats, businessmen, and vacationers. The journey was expected to be straightforward, a hop over the towering Andes Mountains. But as the aircraft approached Santiago, radio operators received a final, chilling transmission. Stendek, a single cryptic word repeated 3 times. No one knew what it meant. Before they could ask for clarification, contact was lost. Search teams scoured the Andes for days, then weeks, but found nothing. It was as if the aircraft had vanished into thin air. For decades, the fate of Stardust remained one of aviation's most enduring mysteries. Then, in 1998, more than 50 years later, mountaineers stumbled upon twisted metal and frozen human remains emerging from a glacier. Investigators concluded the aircraft had flown into a mountain during bad weather, triggering an avalanche that buried the wreckage for decades. Yet, the message Stendek remains unexplained. Some believe it was a simple, misheard transmission. Others insist it was a coded distress signal, or a final message lost to time. The Stardust may have been found, but a part of its mystery still drifts somewhere above the Andes. Case 2, Varig Flight 967, 1979. On January 30th, 1979, a Boeing 707 cargo aircraft, operated by Brazil's Varig Airlines, took off from Narita International Airport in Tokyo, bound for Rio de Janeiro. On board were 6 experienced crew members and 1 unusual cargo, 153 valuable paintings by Japanese-Brazilian artist Manabu Mabe, worth millions of dollars. The flight was routine for the first 20 minutes. Air traffic control cleared the plane to climb and follow its planned route across the Pacific. Then, silence. Without a single distress call or warning, the massive jet simply vanished from radar. Japanese and American search teams launched a massive hunt across the Pacific Ocean, covering thousands of square miles. No debris, no oil slick, no bodies, not even a scrap of canvas from the priceless paintings was ever found. Investigators were baffled. The weather was clear. The crew was skilled. And a Boeing 707 doesn't just disappear. Theories range from catastrophic mechanical failure to an onboard fire, even to more sinister explanations involving theft or sabotage. But without a single piece of wreckage, the truth remains hidden somewhere in the vast Pacific. To this day, neither the crew, the paintings, nor the aircraft itself has ever been recovered, as if Varig Flight 967 simply slipped into another dimension. Case 3. Flying Tiger Line Flight 739, 1962. On March 16, 1962, Flying Tiger Line Flight 739, a Lockheed Super Constellation, departed Guam for the Philippines. On board were 107 people, most of them U.S. Army specialists bound for Vietnam, along with an experienced crew. The first 3 hours were uneventful. At 2:22 a.m., the crew gave their last position report, cruising at 18,000 feet, 280 miles west of Guam. Then, silence. No distress call, no radar contact. The plane was simply gone. Around the same time, a nearby tanker ship reported seeing a sudden, brilliant flash in the night sky, followed by 2 smaller bursts of light. The location matched where Flight 739 should have been. The U.S. military launched one of the largest search efforts in Pacific history. 8 days, 48 aircraft, and thousands of square miles covered. Not a single piece of debris was ever found. No life rafts, no bodies. Theories ranged from mechanical failure to a mid-air explosion, even sabotage. But with no evidence, the official cause was listed as unknown. To this day, the fate of Flight 739 remains a haunting mystery, a plane full of soldiers and secrets, vanishing over calm seas, leaving behind only a flash in the darkness and an ocean of unanswered questions. Case 4. Amelia Earhart, 1937. On July 2, 1937, Amelia Earhart, one of the most famous aviators in history, took off from Lae, Papua New Guinea, on her attempt to become the first woman to fly around the world. Beside her was navigator Fred Noonan. Their next destination was Howland Island, a remote speck in the middle of the Pacific. The flight was challenging, over 2,500 miles of open ocean, with only radio navigation to guide them. As they neared the island, Earhart's voice crackled over the radio, reporting low fuel and difficulty finding the landing strip. Her final transmission was calm but uncertain. "We are running north and south." After that, nothing. The plane never arrived. The U.S. Navy launched an unprecedented search, covering more than 250,000 square miles of ocean. No trace of Earhart, Noonan, or their Lockheed Electra was ever found. Over the decades, theories have multiplied. Crash and sink, landing on an uninhabited island, capture by foreign forces, even secret espionage missions. None have been proven. Nearly 90 years later, the fate of Amelia Earhart remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation, a pioneering spirit vanishing into the vast Pacific, leaving behind only her final words and an enduring question: what happened out there? Case 5. Flight 19, Bermuda Triangle, 1945. On the afternoon of December the 5th, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers, call sign Flight 19, took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine training mission over the Atlantic. The weather was mild, and all pilots were experienced. 2 hours into the flight, something went wrong. The squadron leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, reported that his compasses were malfunctioning. Radio transcripts revealed growing confusion. Taylor believed they were over the Florida Keys, but his trainees insisted they were far off course. As daylight faded, fuel ran low. Their last transmissions were tense but controlled. "We can't tell where we are. Everything looks wrong." Then, silence. The 5 aircraft, carrying 14 men, never returned. Incredibly, a rescue seaplane sent to search for them also vanished, along with its 13-man crew. No wreckage from either disappearance was ever found. The Navy's official report cited causes or reasons unknown, fueling speculation about magnetic anomalies, rogue waves, and the now famous legend of the Bermuda Triangle. Skeptics point to navigation errors and bad weather as more likely explanations. But with 27 men lost and 0 evidence recovered, Flight 19 remains a chilling symbol of how quickly the Atlantic can swallow even trained pilots, and how easily fact and myth can merge when the ocean keeps its secrets. Case 6. The Disappearance of Boeing 727, Angola, 2003. On the evening of May 25, 2003, a Boeing 727 Tu-223 sat idle at 4 de Fevereiro Airport in Luanda, Angola. The aircraft had once served American Airlines, but was now stripped of seats and modified to carry fuel, a workhorse for African charter flights. Without authorization, the jet suddenly began taxiing down the runway. Witnesses reported seeing it moving erratically, with no lights and no communication to the control tower. Inside were 2 men, an American mechanic named Ben Padilla and his assistant, both untrained to fly such a large aircraft. The 727 roared down the tarmac and took off into the evening sky, heading southwest over the Atlantic. No transponder signal was activated. Within minutes, it vanished from radar. Despite an international search involving the FBI, CIA, and Interpol, no trace of the plane or its occupants was ever found. Some believe it crashed into the ocean. Others suspect it was stolen for use in illicit operations and hidden in a remote location. To this day, the fate of the Angola 727 is unknown, a 153-foot-long jetliner disappearing in an era of modern surveillance, leaving behind only grainy eyewitness accounts and a mystery that feels almost impossible in the 21st century. Case 7, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, 2014. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a Boeing 737 with 239 people on board, departed Kuala Lumpur for Beijing. The flight began normally, with clear weather and routine communications. Less than an hour after takeoff, the aircraft's transponder was switched off. Military radar later tracked it, making an abrupt turn west, crossing back over Malaysia and out into the Indian Ocean. No distress call was ever made. For hours, satellites continued to receive faint handshakes from the plane, suggesting it flew south over the open ocean until fuel exhaustion. Then, silence. The disappearance triggered one of the largest and most expensive searches in aviation history. Despite combing thousands of miles of sea, only a handful of confirmed debris pieces have been found, washed up on distant shores. Theories abound. Catastrophic mechanical failure, hijacking, crew suicide, or a deliberate act to hide the aircraft's location. None have been proven. MH370 remains the greatest aviation mystery of the 21st century. A modern jetliner, equipped with advanced navigation and communication systems, simply vanished, and left behind only silence and questions. 7 flights vanished. Their silence remains. I've traced the paths of planes that left the ground but never came back. And even in the age of satellites and black boxes, silence still wins. Which case haunted you the most? Leave your thoughts below. And if you want to keep digging through the world's forgotten files, subscribe. More records will be opened soon. This is File, signing off.